1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Have you ever wondered what lies thousands of meters down in the depths of the open ocean? Today we leave our outer reef with a broken windlass and head out to the Tasman Sea. With no wind and the calmest of seas, it's the perfect conditions for a blackwater dive. We furl in the sails over 3,000 meters of water and jump into the darkness to discover a whole other world. This is the greatest migration of animal life, occurring every single night. Uncountable numbers of mostly small marine organisms rise up from the depths of the open ocean to the surface. These creatures of the deep drift with the current, and the only way to witness this is to dive right in with them.
This is the story of a sailboat named Sylvia and the ragtag crew that call her home. Join us each week as we explore the planet both above and below the surface, and see what it's really like to live a life at sea. This is Expedition Drenched.
So Manu is winching in the chain manually. The winch is broken, so we're trying to raise the anchor and we can't, it's stuck. We've currently got the divers out on the reef and they're floating about. Ricky can't find them. The sun is setting, it's going to be dark soon. We're just preparing Sylvia to go offshore.
No need to put it in the hole, we can slide it in the hole later. So yeah, just have it pull all the way back on the deck.
So we've got a few things that we think it might be, or just one specific thing?
We've tried a few things.
What have we tried?
We've tried changing the leather in case it was the friction, but it wasn't that. We are currently very close to Reef on all angles, and we're trying to get the anchor up so we can move either to a new spot or to Elizabeth.
The wind is dying like it's supposed to. Dropping anchor over there, dropping anchor on Elizabeth. It's going to be the same situation, so we're going to head out.
Keep going, Ricky. They're 500 meters away from you.
I think it's time to leave this reef. That's just my feelings anyway. Seems like things keep breaking like I've never had before. So now our windlass is broken. I think we just need to dismantle and connect the two parts. There's just some slippage going on there. And at the same time we had divers in the water that wasn't the best pickup ever. They were like taken with the current. And so Ricky has picked them up in the dinghy finally after we located them from Sylvia. And it's sunset. None of this would worry me that much, but it's sunset, like that's like when things go haywire. And now they're heading back to the boat. We're going to get the small dinghy and the divers back on the boat, and then we're going to head out to sea and head towards Elizabeth Reef. And we're going to have to manually drop anchor and just drop it and put the snubber on. And the windlass is going to have to be a problem for another day because I'm over it.
So we tried to find a wreck for a wreck dive. Jumped in the water, went looking for it, didn't find the wreck. And then we just went in the water like maybe 15 minutes. And then we came up, we actually like put the SMB up so Ricky could find us. And she had a blue bottle wrapped around her neck.
Yeah.
And I pulled my hand up and it was wrapped around my arm and wrapped around my face. It's just like a jellyfish, but the thing is that it has like really long, thin tentacles and it does hurt a lot. It is not one of the most dangerous ones, but it's really painful. The only solution that you can put on it for the pain is it's like warm water. Like so you boil water and then you leave it 10 minutes and then is when you put it with a glove in the places where you've been stung.
After leaving Middleton Reef, we had 3,000 metres of water beneath us. The swell died down, the wind died down, and the full moon rose. It was the perfect opportunity for a blackwater dive. I first learnt about blackwater diving when I was back on Sylphia over 2 years ago, when Jordan and Nate jumped in over the Tonga Trench, the second deepest part of the ocean in the whole world. As I watched, it blew my mind. Today, I'm so grateful that I can witness this spectacular display of nature.
I am about to go on my first blackwater dive. I never knew about blackwater dives before, and then when I first came to the boat, Nate was telling me like a year ago about blackwater diving, and it just sounded like the craziest, scariest, most awesome thing I've ever heard of. We'd talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, but the opportunity never really presented itself. We were never in like thousands of meters of water, and there'd be no wind, and it's like chill enough conditions but deep enough conditions to test this stuff out. So now the opportunity has arisen and it's a D-Day, so I'm really excited for what we might see, crossing my fingers for some really cool stuff, and I think this might be like quite a memorable dive for me. And we've got a full moon right above, so I feel like it's the ideal conditions to
The way this works is we've got our boat right here, okay? We're gonna connect 4 lines off of it, 2 off the stern, 2 off the mid, and then we're gonna connect weight belts to the end of those lines, which is going to make those lines dangle down to about 20 meters. From that is where we're gonna attach our divers. So you are connected to the line, making it so that you can go up and down on that water column. And as the boat drifts through the blackness, it's gonna tug you if you're on the bottom of that line. Okay, so you're gonna get pulled along. The most dangerous thing that can happen is one of these lines becomes disconnected, and now you've got an extra set of 2 weights that are gonna pull you down to 4,000 meters. So don't just trust it, be aware. So I talked about how this dive started in Hawaii. A good friend of mine, Jeff Leisen, wrote an entire book on, it's like a field guide of like how to do this dive and the kind of crazy cool things that you can see on it. It's called A Field Guide to Blackwater Diving in Hawaii by Jeff Leisen. Highly recommended if you're wondering like how do I learn how to do such crazy dive. It gives a full explanation, and he is a marine biologist, a scientist that works for the state of Hawaii. You can find it on Amazon and yeah, or online.
I am so nervous.
You'll be so fun.
This is one of those dives where you're very nervous on the surface, but it's out of excitement and it's out of just it's such a unique opportunity to do it. And this is the cornerstone of how the ocean becomes what it is, and the diversity that you see due to the currents, and oftentimes we oversee how endemic populations come to be. So this is just so cool to see it way out in the open ocean. I've never been this far out in the open ocean. First of all, the stars are incredible, but then cannot wait to see what's underwater. So let's go.
How are you feeling?
I feel excited. I've never done this kind of dive before. I'm a little bit sleepy, but that's okay. I think I'll wake up with all of it. And I'm just around. Yeah, a bit scared, but nah, excited, mainly excited.
I don't even know, just crazy shapes, crazy aliens. So cool.
Hey, Nate Dog.
Yeah, what up?
How was it?
So good. So I saw some big octopus. I saw
A big octopus.
some octopus, yeah. And I saw some like little fish riding things and shrimp riding jellyfish. And every time I looked at Molly, she had something like big for down there, like big things. It was really cool. Yeah, much different than other ones I've done. So yeah, loved it.
Oh, it was like the coolest thing ever. Wild experience.
So many colourful lights.
I could have stayed down with her.
Oh, same. It was just like such a cool thing to do.
Tell me about your first blackwater dive, guys. How was it?
It was absolutely surreal, something out of a science fiction movie. There was so many different jellies and organisms that were just bioluminescent in all sorts of colors. Yeah, it's weird stuff, but it's a lot of juveniles and a lot of jellies that are just drifting away with the currents. It's real, like it's, yes.
I was feeling like really relaxed, really safe, and then like as soon as you just like start like going down, you see all those little creatures just like signing around you. It's so beautiful.
Good job for being adventurous enough to say, yes, let's go do that.
Yes.
High five, team. High five.
You are the rain, you are the sky. Your yellow rays and burning fire.
Beautiful sunrise, and I'm the only one awake. We putted throughout the night, did a blackwater dive, and it's just absolutely magical. And I love sharing that dive with people because it is so unique. Every time you try to explain to people like what is a blackwater dive, they're just like, that's madness. Dangling on a little line over 3,000 meters of water, and I'm pretty confident that out here in this area we're probably the first people to do that kind of dive, so that's cool. It's like the final frontier of diving, where people that do that dive are more likely to discover new species than any other kind of dive. Just cruising along to Elizabeth Reef. All the other crew is sleeping, and I hope that they wake up, and we're pretty close to there. Because right now, we're scheduled to get there in about an hour and a half.
Last night was incredible. We did what was my very first blackwater dive, and I loved every single second of it. You know, you're over thousands of meters of water, and it should be scary. You should be scared. Like, what is beneath you? You don't know. What's 2 meters over there, 1 meter over there? You also don't know because you can't see, because it's pitch black. And all you can see is what your light shines directly right in front of you. But it wasn't scary. It wasn't scary because it was just too incredible. It was too cool. All these, like, squishies floating at your face. And you only get to see them for maybe, like, 10 seconds each because the current is like pushing them past it. They float by your face and you see their bioluminescence. You get a second to try and figure out what it is, and then it's gone. And then the next one floats at you. It just repeats like that again and again. I've been reading this book. This is a friend of Nate's. It's about blackwater diving. I've just been reading about like his journey as well on blackwater diving and how he just kind of fell into it, started off as a dive master, and it just one thing led to another to the point where it became his entire passion or his entire hobby. Maybe that's something I want to start exploring. And he also said the most interesting thing to me was that he said every single blackwater dive he does, pretty much he still sees something that he's never seen before. And then he goes on to say that we know more about the surface of the moon and the surface of Mars than we do about what's underneath these waters. That there's stuff that, you know, no one else is out here at this very far away reef just jumping off the back of their boat in the middle of the night, because that's a crazy person thing to do. Why would you do that? I want to do it again.
It is thought no more than 200 people have ever laid eyes on the pristine waters of Elizabeth Reef. which is 145 kilometres north of Lord Howe Island. It is one of the southernmost platform reefs in the world, and at low tide most of the reef flat is exposed. It's claimed more than 70 vessels in the past 100 years, with some wrecks still visible.
There's this little inlet that comes right into the reef, and we're gonna just nose our way in there. So we're gonna have a reef on both sides of us. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and yeah, then we have to manually put the anchor down. So I'm gonna get far in there, drop it, and then snubber it off real quick as we back off.
I will take the snub off, and it's all on you then. So we are ready to drop.
Welcome to our new house. Welcome to our new house.
Nice one, Manu.
Yeah.
So good.
What's going on, Lovey? What are you doing?
Me and Tiff are going for a little night snorkel. It's full moon, so there'll be lots of life on the reef. That's it.
Lots of squiddies.
That's all I got.
Octopuses. What do you got over there? What's Nick got over there?
Cookies. Enjoying good music.
Next time on Expedition Drenched, a squall hits us and reaches an astonishing 57 knots, and our feet touch land after 2 weeks at sea.
We've been dancing all around the red dirt around the scene.
Let's have an intel.
Just getting a little ear pierce. They gave me the option of the tip or the ear, so I'm going the ear.
We can do the chicken and the kangaroo. Don't you know that we can do the raunchy too? We can go to my house, baby, and have a ball. Come on,
Which color is back?